Hello, hello, and welcome to a funny little thing. So, at the end of Aperture Tag, which would have gone up earlier today, I decided that I wanted to start ranking the Portal videos, or the Portal games I've done. Or, excuse me, the Aperture games. And so, this is that. Now, I'm going to do something, and I'm going to sort of rank these in a particular manner that I'll go over as I go. And in the future, as soon as I finish anything Aperture related, I'll put it on the playlist in the end, in its finale video. So let's start off with the officially Valve published games. Portal 1, Portal 2, which I've split between the single player campaign represented by the art book art, and the multiplayer campaign represented by the cover art, and Desk Job. So let's start with Portal 1. Now, there's going to be sort of a discrepancy in how I do this. With any game that is officially published, I'm going to rank it on that scale, as a officially Valve published, like, this is a game. And I'm going to rank it against other Valve published games, more or less, is how I'm going to rank Portal. So starting with Portal 1, I love Portal 1. It's an incredible puzzle game with a unique concept that has never been seen before, made by a smart team, and it really is the game that caused a massive overhaul in how Valve as a company operated, for better or worse. But in the end of the day, it's just a very cool puzzle game. Now let me be clear about something. This game is abysmal. For a game to be F, it needs to have actively made me upset that it is in the state it is in. D, you were almost a good game. Do a little better and you could have been good. C, passable. I'm glad I paid money for it. I'm not upset with my purchase. It's okay. B, okay, we're getting somewhere. This is a really good game. A, okay, this game is awesome. This is a beautiful, beautiful game. This is like AAA amazing. S, we are talking some of the best games on the market. Like, this is where I would put Outer Wilds. And Original Portal, people are gonna hate me for this. B. It's amazing tests. It's incredibly fun to play. But I can't, in my mind, justify putting it higher than that, because the story is okay, and it's just about the amazing gameplay. But you know what elevates that is Portal 2. And Portal 2 elevates it so much, I honestly say Portal 2 is an S-tier game. One of the best games I have ever played. It is funny, the narrative is great, it's got good twists and turns, and the puzzles are amazing through and through. Cave Johnson is one of the best characters in fiction. S tier. The multiplayer mode? A tier. Because I would say I put the story probably on par with base Portal, or with Portal 1, but it's got better puzzles because of the multiplayer element. And it's just dumb fun to do with your friends. And now, Desk Job, the more recent of the releases, which is, like many of the Aperture games, just used to sell a peripheral to sell the Steam Deck and show off its cool features. Its ranking would hugely depend... Uh-oh. I chopped the bottoms off of something. Whoops. Oh well. So its ranking had the potential to hugely vary, because if it cost money, D tier. Fuck you, Valve. But it is free. And because it is free, and it is the first real good showing of Aperture narrative, because there's been the VR games, but those are sort of, I don't think they have good narrative. Desk Job has an incredibly comedic and enjoyable narrative, and I'm gonna say that upgrades it to a B tier. Because while it's really simple and silly, because it is free, it is B tier. And now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a hard white line straight down. And I'm going to separate the official AAA published games from these bad boys. What I'm going to call the official mods. The mods that got the Valve stamp of approval to charge money if they wanted to. The big boy projects, which on our channel so far has been Aperture Tag, Reloaded, and Mel. To qualify for this, you need your own Steam page. Yeah, I feel like there's gonna be some opinions in the comments, and I'd love to hear them. So, I'm ranking these on a different level, right? To make it to S, you need to be as good as, like, I'm gonna say, well, I say on a different level. You need to be as good as Portal 2. But to get down to, like, F or D, you are... I guess what I'm gonna say is I'm being more generous with these. These are being treated on their own scale, separate from these. Because if I was treating them on the same scale as these, they'd mostly go very low down. But I need to acknowledge that these were passion projects, and there was nobody getting paid to make them. Maybe some of them, like Aperture Tag, made money after it was made, but nobody was paid to make these. And I'm treating them like that. So with that being said, let's start off with the first of these that came out, Aperture Tag. The thing that I did just before this list that sort of inspired me to decide to make it. So Tag has a passable story, or passable, not even a story, a companion character, and a really fun gimmick. And I said this in my last episode of the playthrough, but if Portal is like a Rubik's Cube, Portal 2 is like a Rubik's Cube with an amazing joke book and an amazing comedy movie playing in the background. And Aperture Tag is like a pair of rollerblades. The puzzles aren't very hard, but it is just fun to play. And I think I'm gonna put it as a B because of that. Apparently, I messed this up. I'm just going to go ahead and extend out the black bar on the bottom so this fills in the space fully. I'm going to give it a solid B. You know, I'm going to say it's going to be generally very hard to get C tier on this list, probably. Now, the next one to release was Mel. And I have not played Mel Advanced Mode. And maybe when I play that, it'll move the position of this. But here's where it stands for me now. The puzzles were simple but enjoyable. And the narrative, I would say, is better than Portal 1, not as good as Portal 2. But on the scale of the... see, if I was putting it on the scale with these, I put it in A tier. But because I'm treating it on a separate scale, this is the S tier of the big boy mods currently. This is the best of these big boy mods, and I put this as a worthy if this was released as an official sequel to Portal, I would be okay with that. As the official Portal 3. Next comes Portal Reloaded, which Portal Reloaded hands down has the worst story of all of these, because all you have is a robot companion talking to you about time travel. But I have not had myself mentally stimulated better in anything Portal related, and because of that, it lands itself in the S tier. And now, we move from there into the big boy, what I'm gonna call the multi-part tests, right? We're now moving into the Steam Workshop. These are things that were not given enough credit to become their own full project. I think Mel deserves the title of Portal 3. I'm gonna be honest. It is the only thing that I have played that I think deserves the title of Portal 3. If it had been given that Valve polish, and the people were getting paid to make it, because the only thing wonky about it is that it has some wonky models, but if it had gotten, like, if the people were paid to make it, you know that those models have been polished and made look cleaner. The story is wonderful, and it ties in nicely with the story of Portal 2. And I think when it was trying to be funny, it was funny. When it was trying to be tense, it was tense. And because of that, it, like... I rank it... I rank it high, you know? I think it deserves the title of being close... Or as close as you can get to... As close as you can get to being called a Portal 3. Now let's start moving on to, like I said, the big boy test chambers of the Unreal Chambers, 12 Angry Tests, and Designed for Danger. These are collections of many test chambers that are meant to weave together to tell a narrative. And they are not treated the same as the big boy projects, because these work more or less entirely within the confines of what Valve designed. But I will say all three of these do ignore the Portal's like limitations of the engine builder to do what they do. So I'm gonna start by placing the Unreal Chambers, because that was the first one in this I did. Unreal Chamber blew me away by doing things that I did not think, I'm gonna shrink it down a little bit just for space, that I did not think were possible in a Portal test chamber. Basically by doing silly no-clip stuff, but because of that, it gets into S tier. But I need to be clear about something. It is nowhere near as good as Mel or Portal Reloaded or even Portal 2. But just like how these are treated on a different scale than these are being treated on a different scale where I'm being more generous. You know? So realistically, every time there's a white line, assume that everything is knocked down one notch if you really want to treat it that way. Because I'm putting these on a different scale. Next was 12 Angry Tests, which was just a fun set of tests. And I'm gonna be honest, it's our first C. But it is a C by the standards of these community chamber things. And it's only a C because if I had played it alone by itself, I probably would have put it as an A. But it is so blown out of the water by the weird creativity of the Unreal Chambers, and by the delightful humor and main story integration of Designed for Danger, which I'm going to give Designed for Danger an A. And it is a smidgen away from being an S. It is a high A. If Designed for Danger had a few tweaks to how it worked, it would probably be an S. If they had actually brought in somebody to voice the Adventure Cube to say unique things, and if they had done a bit more of the silly cardboard cutout stuff that they did in the early chambers, it probably would have been pushed up to S, because it was just that fun. And I said it when I played it, in my silly little headcanon, I like to believe Designed for Danger canonically happens in the middle of Portal 2's story. It doesn't. There is no canon to it, but in my version of the universe, it's canon. And now we're doing another white line to the standalone chambers, because all of these had the benefit of being multiple chambers that you went through in order to help you figure them out, or in order to help you do them. These were all one-shot chambers, and so they're treated on their own scale because of that. Now, it's been a while since I played most of these, I will say that, so that might affect my brain a little bit. You're like, Diverse? I literally don't remember Diverse, and because of that, I'm about to open my YouTube video on the side where you guys can't hear it, and quickly click through and try and refresh my brain a little bit on what happened in Diverse. So what was Diverse like? Diverse Remastered, technically. It was just one really solid test room, right? Okay, yep, I'm clicking through, and I do distinctly remember Diverse. It had, like, the vacuum cube... It had a vacuum tube as its primary mechanic, didn't it? Yeah. It had a vacuum tube that you could use to move things around. I remember. And that was a really cool gimmick that they built really good puzzles around. And it was a really big, long, stretched out thing. I remember Diverse. Diverse was very fun. On the standard of single chamber things, I think Diverse gets an A. And again, that does not mean it's as good as Designed for Danger or as good as Portal 2's story mode. This is being treated as a different scale. You know, like, generally what I'd say is pluck this section and throw it down like this, underneath all of that, generally. That's probably not exact. Honestly, I'd probably say this is more so like that. And if we grabbed these, they would be on here like this. And then this would probably be like down here. I do want to get into Revolution. That's the head to the Discord and vote on what Portal content I play. The next thing I had then done though was Multipurpose Cube, which I remember. Multipurpose Cube was very simple, very fun, very solid. It had you moving one cube all over the place. It stuck in my head. I read that name and I remember it was. Diverse, the only reason I remember it is because the name isn't really descriptive of what it is. And I think Multipurpose Cube gets a solid C. But with me being open to moving it higher up in the future as I play more of Test Chambers, I will say that. For now, C in this case means this is the standard of what I think all community test chambers should meet. Bare minimum. This is the bare minimum standard of being an interesting thing to me. After that was... Oh, actually, I did Bounding Box before Multipurpose Cubes. My bad. Oops. Hang on. There we go. And I think Bounding Box... I remember this one. This one, again, very fun. Stuck in my head super well. On par with Multipurpose Cubes. My ranking list is running out of space. These two are on par because they're both great for totally different reasons. Then was the final. What was the final like? Let me... We're trying to refresh my brain on that one. The final. I think... Yeah, the final was just a pretty cool test. I kind of remember the final. It didn't have any gimmicks that made it unique. It was just a solidly put together test chamber, I remember. And honestly, thinking about it, I think the final is actually my C tier, like the baseline need to be this good, and these get pushed up to B tier when compared to the final. You know, take this with a grain of salt. It's been a long time since I touched these chambers. After that was an Increase, which, if I recall, didn't increase. Increase was a single chamber that every time you did something added more complexity to it. And it was nothing too crazy. It was very, very, very easy. And I'm gonna be honest, if it was harder to solve, it would be up here. But because Increase was very straightforward, very fast to learn, it goes on par with Final as a C tier lister. I'm just trimming it a little shorter to save space in the long run. I might later on make that look a little nicer of a trim. Yeah, no, I'm gonna make it a little nicer of a trim now. And then after that came Sendification. Oh, Sendification was another compilation set. That's right. And I remember Sendification. Sendification was all about Yeah, Sendification was one of the last things I had done. Chain Builder was very similar to Increase, and because of that, I think I might even be blending Increase and Chain Builder together in my brain now that I think about it. Hang on, let me go look at Increase again just to make sure. I might be mixing up Increase and Chain Builder now that I think about it. What was Increase like? Oh, I remember Increase. Increase still sits in C. So everything I said about Increase actually applies to Chain Builder. But Increase was just another solid chamber like Final. Sendification. What was the gimmick of Sendification? Didn't Sendification have a gimmick going on in it? What was going on in Sendification? It's been so long since I touched it. I think it was just a really solid set of test chambers. Yeah, it was just a super solid set of test chambers. Oh no, yeah, the Sendificator. You could like pick up and put down cubes, couldn't you? Yeah, no, it had a teleporter in it. Yeah, I remember. Sendification was super fucking cool. Honestly, taking Sendification into account, I'm gonna be honest. Remembering Sendification, Design for Danger doesn't deserve to get pushed down, but what does deserve to happen is Sendification put on the same level as the Unreal Chambers. And I do think Sendification is slightly better than the Unreal Chamber, honestly. Unreal Chamber is just so bizarre and unique. Honestly, yeah, no, Unreal Chamber does still hold its position because it does do some weird spatial, like, fourth dimensional vibe things. But yeah, there's my Portal tier list of everything I've done in Portal. So, come back next week and I should be doing, at least one community test chamber, maybe a couple. I think that's generally going to be the thing I'm going to do, is I'll visit a few community test chambers in between every single one of the big series. For at least 1 week worth of videos, maybe 2. And then, yes, I think what I'm going to do next time is I'll return to the Enigma Protocol stuff, maybe even redoing part 1 of it. Because I abandoned that way back when my computer broke. And then I'll probably do the map that's being suggested. I loved Sendification, honestly. I might play the HMW maps, whatever. Send me the HMW maps in the Discord, and I'll play them. Because I will forget to play them if you don't do that. But yeah, this is the this is what we got. I'm very happy with this setup. I think this is very nice right here. I hope you've all enjoyed this silly little Portal tier list thing, and I'll be visiting this more in the future. Love all you very, very much, and ta-ta for now.